Hey there, and welcome back to Tim Talks Cooking. Today we are talking keto lemon sandwich cookies, my friends. You heard me right, keto lemon sandwich cookies. And you may be thinking, well, that's kind of an unusual treat. It actually is. My buddy Lee, who just went on a sugar-free diet, tells me that he's missing these great lemon sandwich cookies he used to get before. And obviously my first thought is, you know what, I'll bet I can make something just like that, that's just as good. And you know what? I can! Let's get started. Here's what you'll need to make the cookie part of these great sandwich cookies. Starts off with 2 cups of sifted, unblanched almond flour. Of course, you could use blanched if you like. You're also going to want 1/4 cup of coconut flour, 2/3 cup of erythritol or some other sweetener, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. This is low-carb baking powder that I made myself using 2 parts cream of tartar and 1 part baking soda. If you look at the label on the baking powder you're using right now, the first ingredient might be cornstarch. You don't necessarily want that on the keto diet. Here I've got 2 teaspoons also of vanilla extract, pure vanilla extract. I also have here, this is 2/3 cup of melted refined coconut oil. You could use melted ghee, melted butter, any fat that you want to use here. And 2 large eggs. We're going to begin by mixing together the dry ingredients. So in goes the coconut flour, the erythritol, salt, and the baking powder. And we're just going to mix it together until they're well combined, so that when we add the wet ingredients, everything is easy to combine together. There we go. I think that should probably about do it. I'll set these aside. I'm going to beat the egg just a little bit before we put it in there. In it goes. Along with our refined coconut oil. If you use unrefined coconut oil, your cookies will taste like coconut. I'm also going to add in the vanilla extract at this point. I'm just going to get this stirred together. And here's how it looks in the end when it's all combined together. Really nice, right? I'm going to turn this out onto a sheet of plastic wrap. If I can. This stuff is always a little hard to work with sometimes. Here we go. I'm just going to shape it like that and then wrap it up just like this, and then into the fridge it goes for at least 2 hours. While we're waiting for our dough to chill, let's go ahead and make our filling. Here I've got 1.5 packages or 12 ounces of full-fat cream cheese that have been softened, as well as a 1/2 stick of butter that's also softened. That's 1/4 cup of butter. I'm going to go ahead and just blend those together. Basically, this is just a cream cheese frosting. We're going to flavor it with some lemon juice and lemon peel, and of course sweeten it with erythritol. And what we're looking for here is we want a nice smooth mixture. We're getting there. Okay. Next, let's add in our erythritol. Here I've got 3/4 cup of erythritol. I'm going to pour in about 1/2 cup of that, because I don't want to over sweeten this. I'm also going to add our flavorings at this time. Here I've got 1 tablespoon of lemon juice with lemon zest. That's going to be about the equivalent of the juice and zest of 1 lemon. I'm going to add a little bit more juice in this case because I've got a lot of zest there. I'm also going to add in here a teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're going to mix this together smoothly. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to use my spatula to make sure everything gets really well combined. If you were doing this with a hand mixer or in a stand mixer, both would work. You do the same thing, just scrape it down once in a while, make sure you got everything in there. Okay. Give it another go. And a taste, quickly. That's actually very, very good. I think it could use just a little more lemon. So I'm going to go ahead and put about a half a tablespoon in there of my flavor. Maybe just a little more of the erythritol. Maybe about a tablespoon. Give another whoosh. Scrape it down. You know the process pretty much, right? Blend. And let's give this another taste. I think it's just delicious. I'm going to add in the rest of the erythritol and give it another blend. And there we have it. We have a beautiful, beautiful filling here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a container and put it back in the refrigerator while we wait for our cookies to chill. It's been 2 hours now, and here's our dough. Right out of the fridge. It's a nice, solid, pretty firm dough. It's about the texture of Play-Doh, pretty much. A little crumbly, though. Remember, of course, it's not like wheat flour. To roll it out, I've got a great big sheet of parchment paper here that I folded in half, and I'm going to put half of the log. Put half of the log on part of it, right in the center on the bottom half. Cover it over with the other part of the parchment. This I'm just going to wrap again and put off to the side here. And here we're going to push this down a little bit to make it easier to roll out. See, like I said, it's a little bit crumbly. And you know what? When you have parts of it that separate like that, just push them back together. It's really pretty forgiving in that way. Now, we're going to roll this out to about a 3/8 of an inch thickness, maybe 1/4 inch. Let's see. You can see as I do this, it's pretty easy. If it wrinkles, you want to just lift the paper up briefly. And use the palm of your hand to feel for evenness while you do this. Now here I've got it rolled out to the thickness I want pretty much. And I'm going to use this small glass to cut the shape of the cookies I want here. And let me just show you. Lift that up gently. And there we have it. Onto the baking sheet, which is covered with parchment paper also. And we're just going to continue to cut cookies out and roll our dough out until we've used up all of the dough. While I'm doing this, I'm preheating my oven to 350 degrees. And here we are. I got 22, and then one little misshapen one, cookies out of this batch. These are going to go into my 350 degree oven for about 15 minutes. I'm going to keep an eye on them though, and we want to pull them out when the edges just start to brown a little bit. Okay, my timer's just gone off. Now, I had 2 baking sheets, so I had to switch them in the middle. Here you can see these starting to get browner along the edges right here. This other pan isn't quite done yet, so back they go into the oven for another 5 minutes or so. Once your cookies have cooled completely, you can fill them. I'm going to turn them over and fill them on the very flat side. I'm going to use my pastry bag here. You can of course use a knife if you want to, if you don't have a pastry bag. And if you do have a pastry bag, this is how you do it. I'm going to put a big old blob in the center of the cookie, more or less. I'm going to use about a tablespoon, tablespoon and a half per cookie. And I'm going to take the next cookie and fit it right on there and make a lovely little sandwich out of it. Look at that. Very neatly. And there we go. And now I'm going to put that onto a plate and move on to the next cookie. When I get done, I'm going to put these in the refrigerator so the icing can solidify a little bit more. And then they'll be ready to serve. Now, if that isn't the most gorgeous little plate of sandwich cookies I've ever seen, I don't know what is. It is definitely time for a taste. Well, all right, let's give them a taste here. I think these look so great. Wow. These are great. My frosting needs to set just a little bit more, as you can see it's sort of squeezing out. But boy, is that good. The lemon filling, so delicious. The cookie, sweet and crunchy, really just perfect. Now, one of these is about a serving, I'm pretty sure here. If you want to make smaller cookies and have more, you can always do that. I think these are just lovely. Listen, I hope you'll try this recipe. And I also hope that you will like, share, comment, and especially subscribe to my channel. It helps my channel grow, and it helps you find my videos. Thanks for joining us here today at Tim Talks Cooking. We'll catch you next time.